in this place tonight. The second you walk by, I hit you with sexy eyes. You look through me as if I wasn't right. Oh no, you didn't just walk on through. It's time.
Greetings and welcome to Tuesday and the Dragon's Lair workshop. Wanted to give a shout out to Holiday Yard and a comical thank you. You have me laughing my ass off. If you haven't subscribed to Holiday Yard, make sure you make it over to his channel. He does a little bit of Christmas, a little bit of Halloween. Pretty good guy. He's getting really well known for doing what I call spoof videos or knockoff videos, and he does them in good taste and with a lot of comedy. And he put one up last week which was a knockoff of Diablo's Haunters Hangout show. He portrays all the different characters and stuff in these spoof vlogs. So he was portraying Diablo and J Wall, and I believe it was Woodland Haunters and me in his video. It's about 5 minutes long. It is hilarious. Was I offended by it? No, I was shocked by it at first. I've watched it a couple of times though, and every time I do, I'm laughing my ass off. So Holiday Yard, they say, what is it? Well, how's the old saying? Copying somebody is the sincerest form of flattery. I was flattered that you did the spoof on me, bro. I enjoyed it, and thank you. But go check out Holiday Yard's channel, watch that vlog, and see what else he has up. He does some good work. Project-wise, as you know, I did a festival this weekend with my produce business, and I had mentioned I was going to try making my own chain, and it didn't turn out as good as I thought it would. What I did is I took a coat hanger, plastic coat hanger, and was using that on a form and just heating it up and bending it around the form, and I was coming out with these. And get you a close-up view, you'll notice it's kind of chunky and what have you. I think it has to do with the type of plastic used in these hangers. They don't, different hangers different manufacturers use different plastics. But this plastic does not melt real evenly. It's hard to bend. And then I was also having some problems with my form I was using. Basically, you just stick an end in there, heat it up, bend it around it. Once it cools, though, you have to kind of pry it off, and my form was actually starting to fall apart. And also the plastic, once you get it malleable enough to bend around the form, it was actually seeping into the wood itself and adhering to it. So it was literally just not falling apart, the form was tearing apart. So I'm either going to have to come up with a different process to make these little chains or buy some. And I actually did go down yesterday and buy some. But as a side note, I've got lots of plastic hangers that I pre-cut, both the bottoms and the tops and mishkabibble stuff. I think what I'm going to end up doing for my torture chamber room is I'm going to turn a lot of these into hooks and prods and different little, set dressing props and stuff. They'll work out great for that. And I'm also going to use some of it to make homemade padlocks and stuff. At least I'm going to attempt to try that. That's another project for down the road, a small project. Or actually nothing I do is kind of small. Anyway, with that aside, I'm out here to get working on the cage. We left last week with this getting its flat black base coat, and now I need to rust it up some. And I've had a few comments already on the Halloween portion of my vlog I posted yesterday. People interested in Mark's Devil's Gate Cemetery's rusting technique that we're calling Devil's Rust. I figure I'll give you kind of a small how-to on how to mix it up, how to apply it, what have you. There's several different techniques that you can use. You get different effects with both. So sit tight and we'll get things set up and show you how to do it. Okay, now to make the Devil's Rust, it requires 3 ingredients. It's real simple, real easy. First off, go down to any of your tire stores and what have you that do brake jobs. Any place that does brakes. They have a metal lathe in there that they grind down their drums and, you know, different parts, and they get a lot of metal shavings, which is what this is, off of it. And there's a lot of debris in it and what have you. Now, nice thing is, this stuff's for free. They just throw it in the garbage. They'll be happy to give you as much as you want for free. I took a 5-gallon bucket down and filled it up. But it's just real fine, granular things. When you get it home, you're going to have to sieve it. You know, run it through the sieve or something to get all the bigger junk out, because you just want the fine grain particles in here. That's one of the things that you'll need. The second one is paint. Whatever color you want to use, it doesn't matter. Once you mix it in with the granule, mix it up and add the granules, it's going to turn black. So it really doesn't matter overly much. And then the third ingredient is white vinegar. You can get this down at Costco. Oh, you get 2 gallons of it for like $6, $5-6, and a little bit goes a long way. The paint, you can use Oops paint, so you can save yourself money on that. All in all, you can do it for under $20, depending on where you buy your supplies at. Now, to make the Devil's Rust, it's a 50-50 combination between the paint and the granules, the metal shavings. And for that, you just get a container, fill it up halfway with the metal shavings, then fill it up the other half of the container with the paint, mix it up thoroughly. That's start part 1. Okay, I've got it mixed up now. I started with 50-50. 50% of the granules, 50% of the paint. And it was still a little watery, so I added more shavings. What you're shooting for is you want a kind of a stiff paste out of it. So you just keep adding granules until you get a nice thick oatmeal type paste out of it. Okay. Now I should warn you on this, when you go to apply this, or after you applied it, your paintbrush that you use and the container, do not try to wash them out. Just throw them right into the garbage. If you wash them out in the sink, like I normally wash most of my stuff in the house in the kitchen sink, that stuff will get into your drains, it will dry up, and you can eventually clog your drains and do some more damage because it will rust while it's in the pipes. So when you're done doing your rusting, just throw the paintbrush and the container right in the garbage and get rid of it. Now for applying it, like I said, make sure you use one of those disposable paintbrushes. Don't go down wasting, $10-20 on a brand new nice paintbrush. You don't get the 59-cent cheapy ones. That's all you need. Okay, now to apply it, it's just like doing regular painting, except instead of doing paint, you're coating on a paste. So it's a little bit thicker. Get some on your paintbrush if you can, and just simply paint it on wherever you want it to rust at. Or you can use it. The vinegar is the next step in this. And that's basically the activator. That's what triggers the metal to actually start doing its rusting thing. And you gotta wait for a little bit. And basically you paint this on, wait till it gets tacky, nice and tacky. Then you come back through and spritz it down with the rubbing alcohol, or not rubbing alcohol, vinegar, sorry. use rubbing alcohol, you might get an effect you don't want. I'm just kind of sitting here slathering this on. I'm not trying to smooth it out really. I'm just, I'm leaving some globs here and there. You don't need to be real neat about it. You don't even need to coat the whole surface if you don't want it. Me, I want the case to look kind of rusted, so I'm giving it more of a coating than I would. Now this technique is good on PVC pipe, for various props like what I'm working on here. If you're doing a pipe room or a sewer room or a boiler room, anything where there's a lot of piping and stuff in it, and you want the rusted look. This application is very easy, very straightforward, and works great for that. Now you can do this in just one coat, which is what I'm going to do, and I'll apply the activator and see what it looks like. Or you can do one coat, do several coats. I don't know. I'd say every 24 hours, until you get the thickness that you want. You want to apply one coat, apply the activator, let it dry overnight. Then you can come back in, and if it's not as thick as you really want it, or you want, more globby effect, you could come back in and give it another coat of it. Now I would recommend applying the vinegar, and I'll explain a little bit more about the vinegar with each coat. So like with this coat, like I said earlier, let it get tacky. Spray on your vinegar, let it dry overnight, come back in. If you want a second coat, give it a second coat, and just repeat the process. Apply, spray, apply, spray. What the vinegar does for this, it's the activator. It's what actually causes the rust. The white distilled vinegar reacts with the metal shavings and actually causes the metal shavings to rust. And then the paint is basically the glue that holds the metal on, holds the metal shavings on. Now, something else too I should kind of mention is, once you get this going with the rusting on here, you do have to apply several coats of vinegar to it. About once a day or so, let it dry overnight, and then you come back the next day, until you get the desired effect that you want. But if you stop there and don't do anything, this thing will continue to rust on its own. And if you want to stop the rusting technique, it gets to a point where you like it, you want it to stop there, you have to come back with a polyurethane or some sort of clear coat and go over your whole prop with that. That seals the metal shavings and stuff and stops them from rusting. This is not a neat process. It's a very messy application. So, right now I'm out in my shop. I don't have a paint tarp down, so I really don't give a damn if I get stuff on the floor. It's a cement floor, it's an old garage, there's oil stains out here and paint stains and whatever else. But if you're doing this inside somewhere where you have to worry about carpet or linoleum or wood flooring or whatever, and you want to make sure you don't make too big of a mess, I highly suggest putting a tarp down, because you are going to get this all over the place when you're doing it. Okay, now I got my first coat on up here. The next job is to get some of that white vinegar. Make sure you get yourself a handy dandy little spray bottle, fill it up with the vinegar, and then simply give it a little bit of a mist. You don't want to drench it down, but you do want to get the surfaces coated. Now that's all there is to it. I know it doesn't really look like much now. You really won't start seeing any rusting effect on it for a couple hours yet. But once you get your prop to this point, you just walk away from it, let it dry. And by this time tomorrow morning, or actually a little bit later today, in a couple hours, you'll start seeing the metal shavings reacting to the vinegar and starting to rust. You let it sit overnight and you'll notice a big difference come morning. But basically that's, it's a real simple technique. It doesn't take long to do. The longest part of the whole project is just waiting for the rust to rust. So, okay, gentle people. It's been about an hour and a half since I finished applying the rusting technique to the cage and spraying on the activator. And I'm not sure if this is coming up on camera, but you can all kind of see right through there. Over here is even a better one. It's already starting to react to the vinegar. And I did not cake it on. I put it on kind of loosely and what have you. If you want more of a solid rust, you can put it on a nice thick coat, thick layer, and it will give a lot more of a rusting technique to it. I wanted mine a little bit more splattered through here. But as you can see, it's starting to show up already. Some of the tines and stuff down there are showing some of the rusting and stuff too. Now what I'm going to be doing over the next day or two is I'm going to be coming back through here every couple of hours, or maybe a couple times a day, and re-hitting it with the vinegar. That just kind of keeps it activating, and it just kind of keeps on rusting and stuff. But as it goes along, as you can see, the rusting is starting to show up a little bit more. The more I apply the activator, the more it will show up, and I want it to show up. So, but anyway, hopefully that kind of helps. I'll give you some glimpses and stuff of it as we go along. Like right in here, there was a huge glob of it there, and it's really rusting on that. There's another one here on the tip. It's starting to show up pretty good. So, hey, welcome to Wednesday, people. I've been out here for a while. Forgot to turn on the camera and let you know what I was doing. First off, let's go over here to the cage. I gave it a second coat of the vinegar today, and as you can see, it's starting to turn a little orange, looking a little bit more corroded, a little bit more rusty. Now when I applied the mixture of paint and the metal shavings, I went over it kind of lightly. I didn't cake it on. I didn't want that rusted of a look. I just wanted, kind of a light, gross look. And I think I've achieved it. Where the metal shavings are, it'll start turning more and more orange as time goes on and stuff. So I got that done yesterday. And if you notice, I've got the skelly hanging up there. Just getting ready to do some work on that. But yesterday, after I got done messing with the cage, I was going to start on the skeleton, and I thought I just needed to step away from it. So I started another project. 2-inch foam out of that sheet. I took about half of it, and I started cutting these out. Now that pattern, what I did is I went down to Home Depot and went out to where they had their bricks for retaining walls and stuff, and I traced one. That is the shape of one of those retaining wall bricks. Now what I'm going to be doing is for the torture room is I want to make kind of a round fire pit with a grill over it. I'm going to put some red LED lights in it, attach a fog machine up to it. That'll be puffing fog out into the fire pit every so often. And either the cage or my zombie bait prop, or both of them, depending on how big this thing gets, will be hanging over the top of it. So it's a kind of a silent prop, more set dressing. So anyway, like I said, I just kind of spaced out on the skelly yesterday. I was tired. I'm even more tired today. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. But just got him tied. The only other thing I've done is I started work on eyeballs. I'm going to put eyeballs in the skelly. May look weird, I don't know. But got some eyeballs painted. Got another one there. And then I went down and cannibalized, if you guys remember, I did a bunch of LED lighting last year. And I cannibalized 2 of my red single spots. And I'm going to put the red LEDs in the tips of the eyeballs. And these will be plugged in. I don't know if I'm going to use the flashing eye circuit that hall staff sent me in it or not. I haven't gotten that far. That's for down the road. But I did get the eyeballs done. While they're drying right now, I've got 2 projects I'm going to be working on. One, last Halloween, I bought this hair extension at one of the costume shops. And I'm actually going to take and use some Gorilla Glue and glue some hair sporadically over and around the skeleton on his head, or her head. Give her some long hair. I need to age it too. Not really sure if I'm going to age it. It's not a stark white skeleton. I mean, it's been aged already from the company. I might just let it go with that. I think get lazy with it. I really don't want to put the work and effort into aging it. So I'll probably just come in, put a couple little dabs and smears of Gorilla Glue on there, embed the hair in it, and call it good for that. Now we also went down today and hit Value Village, and I picked up some clothing for the skeleton too. So I've got to get that, definitely get that aged because it looks pristine and white. And if the skeleton's been sitting in that cage for any length of time in a torture room or dungeon, she isn't going to have nice clean clothing on. So I'm going to have to age it and tatter it up and stuff, and I think I'm going to permanently mount it on to the skelly too, using again Gorilla Glue, you know, putting a little dab up here on the shoulders and then pressing the material down into it. So anyway, today's skeleton day. I'm going to be working on her for a while. Hey guys, about 4 o'clock on Wednesday, figured I'd give you kind of an update. Got some hair on. I used some Gorilla Glue, painted it on, and just started layering some hair up there. Once it's dried, I can go through and do whatever trimming or mussing up I need to do. And then, don't know if you can see it, but I got the eyeballs installed. There, I got tape holding them in. Tape will come off tomorrow. I'll be doing the hair dressing on this as well tomorrow. So, about as far as I can go with that. And there's my wires for the LED lights I put in the eyeballs. Now, the other thing I did with that skeleton too, or for the skeleton, is we went down to Value Village today, bought a overshirt and a nightgown. Since this is going to be a female, supposedly supposed to be a female. And we're going to dress her up in this. And then with this over the top of it, I'm actually going to glue these onto the shoulders. So it'll be a permanent part of the skeleton. Now what I did is I went and took some dirt in a bucket, added a little bit of water to a nice little soup, and I put these in, mushed them around a bit. I wanted them dirtied up. Then we hung them up here on the fence, and I spritzed them down with some water to get the excess off. And now we're going to let them dry. And then once they're dry, I'll give them a good shaking out to get all the loose stuff off of it. Put it on the skelly. And then glue it into place. I'm hoping to do that tonight if the sun dry out here. It's up in the 90s here today, so I don't think it'd take that long for it to sun dry. So I'm hoping tonight, before I call it quits, get on, I was going to say before I call it quits, get on to Haunt Talk, or Haunt Tech tonight, but they won't be dry by then. I'll have to come out around 9, 10 o'clock tonight before I go to bed, and they'll be dry enough by then that I can glue them up onto the skelly. But I'm hoping to get the clothes glued on today, And then tomorrow I could come in and distress the clothing a little bit more with some rips and tears and what have you. And also get that the hair done tomorrow after the glue dries, and then install it into the cage. And then that prop will be finished. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm shooting for. Don't know if I'm going to get there. Right now, since everything's on the skeleton between the hair and the eyes are drying with the glue, the clothes are outside wet and drying, I'm going to switch over to making some brick. And I'll just work on cutting out brick. I got 38 of them to cut out and go from there. So, hey guys. End of the day on Wednesday, getting ready to call it quits, go in and get on Haunt Tech tonight. I figured I'd give you a recap of what I got done. First off, last segment I mentioned I was going to be working on the bricks. I got them, the ones I had ready for it, cut. They're done. So I switched back over to the Skelly. Eyes were dry enough to where I could take the tape off of them. Hair's just about dry as well. I'll back up and give you a further view of it. And he's set up all the way, and I'll take overnight. But tomorrow I need to get in here. I had a couple of drips, you know, and some of the glue showing. I need to get in with a little bit of paint, touch things up, clean up the drips. And I mentioned I was going to dirty up her clothing, which I did. Get her turned so you can kind of see the front there of her. And I just got done gluing that into place. So it'll be a permanent fixture on the Skelly. And what I did was I used some Gorilla Glue up over the shoulders up here, and that'll be dry by morning. I did it both on the shirt and on the slip. It's supposed to be a nightgown. So got that to do. Now tomorrow I'll come in here, I'll get the hair cleaned up and finished, I'll get my touch-ups around the eyes and those drips done. Then she gets installed into the cage. Once she's in the cage, I'm going to come back through with a razor blade and do some tatters and stuff on the end of the sleeves, on the end of the nightgown. We'll probably do some cuts and slices and stuff on the shirt and on the nightgown. And then I want to stain those so they're kind of bloody. You know, look like dried blood. You know, do some detail work. But hoping tomorrow, you know, it should be finished. This prop will be finished. That's what I'm shooting for. So, but anyway, we got some work done. You know, kind of a difference there. Give you a wonky angle here. How about that? There you go. You can lean over a little bit to catch it. Be leaning to your right probably. But one Skelly almost finished. Welcome to Thursday. It's about 1:30. Been out here for 3-4 hours. If you'll notice, shop is all cleaned up. Got all my tables cleaned up, except for that one. That one usually stays a mess. And if you notice, the cage is gone. That's because I finished it. It's out on the patio. So I'm sitting here getting ready to start on the other project I started working on in the middle of the cage. These brick. Now hold it. Yeah, what? You want to see the cage? You don't want to see the cage? What do you mean? Now come on. You've seen me build it and stuff. You've got enough glimpse. You don't need to see it. Let's go back to the bricks. This one's going to be real. Are you sure you really want to see the cage? Okay, come on. It's out here. We got it hanging out here on the patio. Oh, Master Gardener's out here too, getting ready to do some fertilizing, I think, or bug killing. But anyway, there's your cage. We got the skeleton in it. And had a lot of help from the pretty lady here with it. She was giving me ideas. We bloodied up the rips and stuff in the skeleton. I do have the LEDs in the eyes there. I do not have them wired up. It's going to be Halloween before I do that. Main reason is my power boxes for running the LEDs is packed away in the attic and I ain't digging it out. So, But anyway, we do have the cage finished. So another prop off the list. So there you go. Another one bites the dust. And I'm gonna get out of the way before I get hosed. She's threatening me with it. She doesn't like being on the vlogs. So we'll go back in here. But anyway, now you got to see the cage. I've got some time left today. As usual, I'm out of town over the weekend, so leave tomorrow. No prop building. So I am going to get started on these bricks I made. Kind of hard to see, pink on pink. But I need to get an accurate count on how many I need. I only cut out 38, 39 of them. I know I'm going to need more than that. And I'll give you more on this prop as we go further along. Well, it's the end of the day, Thursday. Going on almost dinner time, almost 6 o'clock. And it's 96 here today, which means it's about 100 in the shop. I'm feeling it, so I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to take a nice cold shower and cool off. As you saw in the earlier segments, the cage with the skelly is done. And I mentioned, I believe earlier in this vlog, yeah, I think it was earlier in the vlog, about my next project, the, I guess you call it a fire ring. I ended up today, I got the rest of my bricks cut, and I just finished out the base. It's a real simple project. It's basically just taking a brick, lining it up with the pattern I cut out, gluing it in place, and just keep going around and around and around. And it's going to be about a foot tall. On the layer, just below the top layer, I'm going to be running some pipe to make it look like a grating over that. And then we're going to be putting some red LED lights and a fog machine on there. And it's going to be attached to one of the Scuba Boo boards, and it will probably sit under either the cage or one of my other props. You know, I'll be spitting out fog and color lights and, you know, what have you. Now, it's a fairly simple prop. If I wanted to push it, I could probably have this thing all glued up by probably 9, 10 o'clock tonight. I don't feel like pushing it. So it's going to wait until either Monday or Tuesday. And I'll take one day to get all the gluing done, and it's going to sit overnight, and then we'll get on to doing some detailing. I'm going to probably take the heat gun to the foam after it's dried and, you know, give it a more tattered look, and then there's paint. So it's a quickie project. Probably be finished toward the end of next week, first part of the following week. So, but that's the next project we'll be working on. Nothing earth-shattering like that cage. Other than that, can't think of anything else other than to say, stay spooky out there, people.